Well, it might sound really obvious, yeah, but what I've found is that people were incredibly sad. Like, they're still trying to process the loss of a loved one, which is remarkable because few of us have ever met the Queen. I certainly haven't, and even fewer knew her well. And yet all of the conversations that I've been having today, the familiarity, the tone, was as though I was talking to strangers about a relative. Such was the influence of Queen Elizabeth II. In private conversations across the country, over tables, in offices, at church, we'll talk intimately about a woman many of us never met, and yet we felt so connected to.
I think I'm still in a state of shock like everybody is.
To me, she was just an inspiring person because she inspired a lot of people and she's kind of taught that to the world.
Looking over from Europe, and what is the impression that you get of the kind of woman and person that she was?
A strong woman.
A very strong woman.
In York today, hundreds came from round the corner and much further away to pay their respects. Inside the Minster, they penned their thoughts in a book of condolences. It was too much for some, and understandably, a void has been left in all our lives. And that's why everyone was here. Some, like little Sylvia here, brought gifts, absolutely not bought by Mum Charlotte.
It hit us all quite hard yesterday, even though we were expecting it. And my children were all very upset because it's like losing a grandmother, really, isn't it?
For others, her life put theirs into striking perspective.
You just think she's going to be around forever, and it's kind of nice because you sort of feel that, like, you know, she's this, I don't know, amazing person. She's royalty, but then, like, at the end of the day, she's just a person like everyone else, you know? And a mom, yeah, exactly.
Jill's first impression lasted a lifetime.
I can just remember the coronation, only just, and I was in a pushchair.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So, well, she's been such an integral part of everybody's lives, hasn't she?
And Richard, whose love for the Queen came from his own mum, well, he simply wanted to send a message.
Well, I would like to send our love to the royal family and, you know, the king now. I think he'll be a very good king, and he'll get all our support, and we'll back him all the way.
The city's archbishop knew her a little better. After one party, he found out what made her so universally likeable.
She's very good company. You know, we actually had a bit of a hoot. You know, it was a thoroughly enjoyable week. Couldn't be more nervous turning up, and yet by Sunday evening, when all the other guests had gone home, but the bishop always stayed on, after dinner there's me and the Queen doing a jigsaw and watching the telly, and so it couldn't have been more ordinary in a way.
What's extraordinary is her ability to bring people together. Today, over the chiming of church bells across the country. In Newcastle, Sheffield, and Greater Manchester, where its mayor summed up the measure of the woman.
She provided constancy and consistency for the British people. And those are qualities that we all need to learn to value more. She defined the national character in most of the last century and in this, what it is to be British. That mix of stoicism and a sense of humour.
There's an idea that we all die twice. When we take our last breath and when our name is spoken for the last time. If that's the case, then may she live on.
Jay, some wonderful, lovely stories about Her Majesty there, and it's really quite fitting that people around the country are coming together to remember the Queen through the church.
Absolutely, CL. And in fact, it was the Church of England who put that message out to those chapels and churches across the country to ring their bells at 12. And as I've already said, what a poignant and appropriate way to honour the Queen. And here in York Minster, as those bells were chiming, people packed the halls for a memorial service which was both solemn and quite openly emotional. Now, I had a wonderfully candid interview with the Archbishop of York earlier today, and he told me that you can't quite understand the Queen without also understanding the Church. In many ways, he put it perfectly when he said she took her job very seriously, she took her faith very seriously, but she didn't take herself very seriously. And some of our viewers, in fact, might be surprised to know that her religious views were incredibly progressive. And I don't want to get this wrong. In a famous address in 2012, she said that the concept of our church was quite misunderstood. She said its role was not to promote Anglicanism at the exclusion of other religions. And I feel that message of inclusion is quite the legacy to leave behind.